The NFL is officially 1 week into their season, and while there have been some very shocking things, we know life goes on for all 32 NFL teams. Some started out exactly the way they wanted, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had their quarterback play well and be healthy again, while others, like the Lions, blew a double-digit lead and dropped a game-winning touchdown pass. In today's video, we will be discussing Week 2 game predictions, and this will be a two-part video. The reason for this is I don't want to have an 18 to 20 minute video, so we disperse them into two. Now, before we get started, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now let's begin. And we start today's video off with the Thursday night game, which of course is the Bengals at the Browns. The Bengals didn't play bad Sunday, as they were close to winning their first game in the Joe Burrow era, or at least sending it to overtime, while the Browns straight up looked awful. With this being a short week and a divisional game, I certainly expect this one to be close. Now, I don't doubt a Bengals win, but I certainly think the Browns will play a lot better on Thursday than they did against the Ravens Sunday, because let's be honest, it's hard to play much worse. The Bengals didn't really take a lot of deep shots on Sunday, and I do expect that to change, as we saw the Browns get beat deep a few times against the Ravens. Baker Mayfield has to play better if the Browns want to win, and ultimately for the long-term sake of his job. He is in his third year, so if he wants the big contract extension, he has to be better, and this game for the Browns is a must-win. We heard all of 2019 about how Baker was bad due to Freddie Kitchens and everything else, and now they have to step up and play much better. Their playoff hopes take a deep dive if they come out of the gate with 2 division losses. Now, the Bengals are a younger team, and not to say they don't have Super Bowl aspirations with Joe Burrow later in his career, because they obviously do. I just don't think they have them in year 1. The Browns simply need this win more than the Bengals, and with receivers like Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, I think the Browns look much better than they did in Week 1, and ultimately come away with a win. Browns 27, Bengals 21. And the next game is between two 0-1 teams, and it's the Falcons at the Cowboys. Atlanta didn't play too great against Seattle, defensively at least, as they gave up 38 points and gave up as many touchdown passes as Russell Wilson had incompletions. Dallas, on the other hand, had a great chance at winning in Los Angeles on Sunday Night Football, but ultimately failed to do so. The Falcons have a brutal schedule to start 2020, as they open last week against Seattle, go to Dallas this week, play Chicago next week, and then play at Green Bay the following week. They have to win this game if they have any chance of making the playoffs in that loaded division. New Orleans, even without Michael Thomas, should beat the Raiders this week, and if the Falcons have any division championship aspirations, they simply have to win this week. Unfortunately for them, though, is they play a star-studded Cowboys offense that features the trio of receivers, Zeke Elliott, and of course Dak Prescott. They had problems with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, and I certainly expect that to carry over into this week with such young corners. I do think the Falcons will improve through the course of the year, and very possibly even as early as this week. I just don't think it's enough to go into Dallas and beat the Cowboys on their turf. An 0-2 start for Atlanta to start the year. Dallas 30, Atlanta 24. And next we go to Green Bay to discuss the Lions and the Packers. Green Bay, and more so Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, absolutely took the Vikings to school in Week 1. That is extremely concerning for Lions fans, as Mitch Trubisky, who, and I don't think I'm stepping on any toes here, at least I shouldn't be, is nowhere near the player Aaron Rodgers is, and he threw for nearly 250 yards and 3 touchdowns against this Lions defense. Now, if you want to say Jeff Okudah was out, that's fine, but no offense, I don't think a rookie corner with no preseason makes that huge of a difference in Week 1. Okudah's debut will more than likely be this week against Aaron Rodgers and company, and good luck is all I have to say. I don't have any doubts the Lions can score points, but I don't think they score enough to win. The Aaron Rodgers tour of showing he still has it and that Jordan Love will be his backup for some time will be on display in all of 2020, and Davante Adams fantasy owners should be happy pretty regularly. He definitely can't repeat last week's performance consistently, but he can be a steady player and a top 5 receiver in the league, which he has been for some time. Packers 34, Lions 28. And next is the Vikings at the Colts. This one is very tough to predict because the Vikings got absolutely shredded Sunday by the Packers, and the Colts gave up a 95% completion rate and 3 touchdowns to Gardner Minshew. There will be some things that present problems for each team this game. The Vikings had absolutely no pass rush against the Packers, and with an offensive line like the one the Colts have, they could be in for another very long day. And if the Colts can't force Kirk to throw incompletions, then Kirk can pick the defense apart and throw for a casual 300 yards and 3 touchdowns touchdowns. Now, this game could go very high scoring or it could be very low scoring, and I don't think we see an in-between. The Vikings corners and pass rush have to improve because, to be honest, it can't get much worse than what it was in week 1, so I do expect them to be better in those areas. The offense was good, and I don't think the Colts will be able to slow them down as they gave up 27 to the Jags. Because of that, and me personally not being too impressed with Phillip Rivers, I think the Vikings take this one with a score of 31-21. And next is the Bills at the Dolphins. Buffalo started out the year with a pretty convincing division win, while Miami started out with a 10-point loss to the Patriots. Josh Allen completed nearly 72% of his passes, which is a major improvement from what we've seen in the past. Now, Miami will trot out Ryan Fitzpatrick for another start, and if you're a fan of my channel, you know I certainly don't agree with that, but here we are. The Bills' defense is great, as it has young stars like Trey White, Tremaine Edmonds, and Ed Oliver, and I expect those guys to wreak havoc and to be a nuisance for the Dolphins all game long, and for them to, at minimum, keep them in check. They scored just 11 points in week 1, and Ryan Fitzpatrick threw 3 interceptions in the process. They also averaged just 3 yards per carry, and while they will probably improve throughout the season in that category, I don't think they'll rush for 6 or 7 yards per carry this week against Buffalo. Cam Newton only threw for 155 yards against Miami, so he didn't exactly light it up through the air, but he also doesn't have the weapons Josh Allen does, like Stephon Diggs and John Brown. I'm not a huge Fitzpatrick fan, and while the Dolphins' future looks bright, I don't think they're going to take huge strides until Tua takes over. I expect the Bills to win this one with a relatively close score of 20-14. And next features a game between two 0-1 teams, and it's the 49ers at the Jets. San Francisco dropped the opener to Arizona, which to me was a bit of a surprise, as I expected a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover, but wasn't sure to the extent. Anyways, they lost to the Cardinals while the Jets lost to the division rival Bills. Now, the short version of this game is I expect the 49ers to beat the Jets pretty handedly and regain some lost confidence and get back on track. The longer version is the Jets are going to be without Le'Veon Bell and already lost Denzel Mims for at least a few weeks. Sam Darnold didn't have great weapons to begin with, and the loss of these two only hinder him and the Jets more. The 49ers defense is still very good, and they will show that on Sunday. Now, as for their offense, I expect both Jerick McKinnon and Raheem Mostert to have big days, and for the Kyle Shanahan patented zone run scheme to be finely tuned against a bleak Jets defense. I expect the 49ers to be in control early and for most of the game. Now, they would be wise to take the ball out of Jimmy's hands as much as possible, and I expect them to win by double digits. San Fran 24, New York 13. And next we go to Pittsburgh to discuss the Broncos at the Steelers. Denver nearly started out 1-0, but as we know now, with a last-second Stephen Gostkowski field goal, they are 0-1. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, started out 1-0, and their defense held all-world running back Saquon Barkley to just 6 rushing yards on 15 attempts. Their defense is going to cause serious problems for everyone all year long, and while the Broncos very well could be a good team down the stretch, I don't think they come out with a win in Pittsburgh. The Steelers' offense is loaded everywhere, and hopefully they feed Benny Snell this week, as he went for over 100 yards in his season debut and looked like the future starter in the process. Juju Smith-Schuster caught 2 touchdowns, and I certainly expect him to be good again and back to the player he was in 2018 this year. Remember, he is in a contract year. And while Denver has an extremely bright future ahead of them, with Locke to Judy seemingly being a great quarterback-receiver duo for the next 5 to 10 years, Pittsburgh time is now. They have to win and have to be able to keep pace with their division rival, the Baltimore Ravens. Steelers 23, Broncos 20. And the final game we go to is the Rams at the Eagles. Los Angeles came out and surprised everyone with a win over Dallas in Week 1, while Philly surprised everyone, and not in a good way, with a 10-point loss to the football team. They didn't look great in the process, and if the Eagles have any chance of doing anything in the playoffs this year, then they have to win this game. If you guys didn't know, their schedule in November and December, as you can see on the screen right now, is absolutely brutal, as they have a 5-game span of Seattle, at Green Bay, home against New Orleans, and then travel to Arizona and Dallas. I would say at best they go 2-3 during those games, and given that they already have 1 loss, and a bad loss at that, this makes Week 2 a must-win. Yes, I know they were dealt their fair share of injuries, but football players and coaches always stress the next man up mentality. With how much they'll be looking to correct everything this week coming off of a loss to the football team, and given it is their home opener, I do think they win. Not only that, but West Coast teams generally do struggle, or at least usually aren't themselves in East Coast 1 o'clock games. I'm a big believer in Carson Wentz and think he will help the Eagles get back on track to start the year 1-1. Philly 21, Los Angeles 17. And with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you ever have a video suggestion, please let me know. I truly appreciate all the support you guys give me. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps a ton, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.